Peace. What's good, my beautiful people? How y'all doing? I was just I had the mic muted and I was bumping Dave Hollister, Doing Wrong from his Chicago 85, the movie album, a straight classic. And I hate the fact that they have all of the copyright situations because it would be so dope to go live and play some of my favorite music with you guys and share, you know what I mean? Like have a vibe and have an experience because I love music. I could have been a DJ actually. That's how much you know, I love it. But yeah, I was listening to Hollister and also letting everybody know that I'm live. Good evening. Today is what is today? Monday, August the 4th, 2025. I pray this message reaches you all in the best of health, spirit, and mind. This is really a follow up video from the Walk With Me video that I did yesterday. I get frustrated when you know what I mean, kind of have expectations to put out certain types of content and then put my time and my energy and all that stuff into it, and then it doesn't pan out the way I wanted to, or I don't make the full point that I wanted to convey. So I wanted to kind of follow up on that. Let me pull up my frequency music in the background, and I actually have my phone connected to my Bluetooth, so I'm gonna play this sound. You guys, let me know how the how it comes across. Maybe I need to unhook the Bluetooth if it doesn't sound right. Let's see. That's 528 hertz. Can you guys hear that? Peace, Lola. How you doing? Peace, Terrell. How you doing? Peace, Queen Brooke. How you doing? UFO. Sandra. Walaikum salam, Queen. What's good, everybody? I saw somebody said I haven't seen your content in a long minute. I'm doing well, Spirit Wonder. Thank you for asking. And that's interesting because I've been putting up content consistently. I know, I was completely censored and blocked from people being able to see me for like almost 2 years, but I thought we were past that. But I don't know, maybe just because you haven't seen me in the algorithm recently, it's feeding you what you've been receiving or what you've been tapping into. Let me know, peace and love, Gina, how my sound is. Can you hear the frequency music in the background? Can you just hear me? Am I too low? Am I too loud? Like, let me know so I can go ahead and get into the things I want to talk about today. Yes, everything is well with me and my son. My son is so awesome. He is just such an amazing young man that I'm so proud of. But thank you for asking about him. It's very subtle. Okay, so the music is subtle. Well, I guess that's good, but you can hear it, right? Or maybe I should turn my Bluetooth off. Let's do that. And I'll just play it directly from my phone. Okay, so how's the sound now? Is this better? I turned the Bluetooth off, and I just have it on my phone. Is that okay? Because I want you guys to hear the frequency music. It's all a part of, you know what I mean? It's all a part of the vibe. You can hear me very well. Wonderful. So there's a few things I want to talk about. I did a video the other day. A member in my membership channel asked me about this very anti-black post that has been trending online, and he wanted to, it triggered him, it upset him, and he wanted to get my vantage point and my perspective on it. And you guys know I have consistently been like bringing up this very anti-black, energy that's coming from white America, that's coming from at times, the ICE immigration situation. It's like we always end up being a point of emphasis and focus in everybody's shit. It's a really interesting thing. So I'm going to talk about that, but I'm going to read this post. I went in on this the other day. I'm not going to go in on it the way I did there. That's the beautiful thing about me having my membership channel, is that I can sound off and be raw and uncut without having to worry about all of the politics and BS that comes with posting content on social media, because I just don't have time for that anymore. But I have my own space and my own website where I can say what I want to say. You know what I mean? And just like that, today I'm going to say what I want to say about it too, in a much less, at length way. I want to talk about that, and then I want to pivot from that into just, having a conversation about thriving in the midst of this chaos, because even what I'm going to talk about in terms of this anti-black or the anti-African, thing that's happening in this, it's all happening in the social media consciousness space, right? I don't see, when I'm walking out in the world, there's no anti-black energy being directed towards me, right? And I'm out and about in LA. I don't see any anti-African energy like happening in real time, right? And so we have to contextualize that as we talk about these things, and not allow ourselves to be triggered and frustrated, even though it is triggering and frustrating, right? So I'm going to talk about that, maybe a couple of other things that are happening in trending topics, maybe a little bit all over the place, but as always, I'm going to try to bring it back to the center and really make my the point that I want to focus on, which is thriving in the midst of chaos. Um, let's start with, I'm going to pull up this actual post. Wait, before I pull up the post, I got a couple of announcements to make for you guys. And I need to bring these screenshots up real quick. So let me share my screen. Shout out to all the YouTube members, those of you guys who have signed up for Team Zaza and We Love Zaza. And shout out to all the members of my actual membership channel. This is my website right here. And my modus operandi, which is the alchemist is one who transforms all energies into higher frequencies of love and of light and love. They are the bringers of a new dawn, transmuting the old paradigms into a higher intelligence and order. They act solely for the good for all. Love is the only answer they master to. Maybe I need to start reading this when in the beginning of my videos to kind of like set a frequency and set a tone. I don't know. I'm going to think about that. But okay, so we're going to come back to that. I'm launching another group of my Climbing the Ladder of Yourself group for women. I have 2 active groups running right now, and it's going really, really well. And I had a couple of women reach out to me about doing another one because I had mentioned it in previous videos. So I have 2 confirmed individuals that have signed up, and I have 3 spaces left. This is a 6-month commitment for ladies only. We will have a 30-minute individual introductory call with me, once a month group workshop in a small, intimate group setting of like-minded and well-intentioned women, bi-weekly exercises cater to your personal goals, private online meeting space on my website for additional group support and engagement, access to my membership channel for the duration of the program to enhance your experience, a copy of my Keys to Woman and Change Your Mind from Lack to Abundance workdate. And the program dates are from August 2025 to January 2026. What can you accomplish during that time? There is only 3 spots now available. This is an intentionally small focus group to make sure all participants are really seen and heard. The link is in the description if you want to get more information about that. Also, this is my website. Always forget to promote my books, and I'm so like focused on what it is I gotta say or whatever the point is. But this is my site. I am an author. 7 books published, self-published by my company, Alchemy Publishing, and all of the things that I talk about in all of my content, I've actually created workbooks and books and workshops and things to back up the stuff that I'm talking about. So I have my workbooks available in ebook version and physical copy as well. My Black Matters bundle, the scientific intervention in our affairs and plagues of dysfunction. So yeah, I have contributed a lot to the collective consciousness in terms of literature. So the information is in the description to get more information about my books. And then last but not least, actually, this is not last. I have one more thing after this. I did put up a special for a $50 annual membership, one-time purchase, no subscription. You get access to my headline news episodes, a private community app, Ask Me Anything, group club, book, monthly group club meeting, high content, etc., etc. All the information is in the description. And then, last but certainly not least, I have somewhere between 15 and 20 people at any given time rotating in my DMs, my inbox, my all my comments, in my emails about the things that they're struggling with, the things that they're going through, which I obviously, appreciate and have empathy and compassion for. And I stopped doing my one-on-one consultations for reasons that I've already talked about. But every now and then, I am going to open my calendar up for people to be able to work with me. So I have one spot available for 5 consultations for one person that has been or is interested in working with me, getting my perspective or helping you get unstuck or overcome some difficulty, or maybe just, elevate to the next level of yourself. That's why when I created the Climbing the Ladder of Yourself workshops for women, that was the context behind that, because in all these different things I've studied and the things that I study about humanity and like all our different, layers and levels and complexities, it's all about climbing the ladder of yourself. It's all about evolving. It's all about growing. It's all about expanding. So from, the type of diet that you eat, if you look at a pH scale and think about an alkaline diet, right? A plant-based diet versus an acidic fast food based diet, right? Wherever you are in your health, you can start climbing the ladder of your physical health by shifting your eating habits and shifting what you put in your body from an acidic diet into an alkaline diet. So that's one example of climbing the ladder of yourself, right? When it comes to your emotional awareness and your emotional maturity or stability, in my workbooks, I show the chart of the emotional spiral, and at the top of the spiral being love and abundance and gratitude and, health and well-being and all of the beautiful things. And then at the bottom of the spiral, there's jealousy and envy and self-doubt and hatred and fear, right? And so again, obviously the goal is not to be stuck in self-doubt or fear. The goal is to spiral up on the energetic scale, which actually is the real power source. That's why this backwards ass society is suffering so much, because we look at emotions as weakness. With the way we talk about emotions is from a perspective of, it's always like you need to control your emotions. Yeah, but control it in a way that you're channeling and transmuting it so that you're emphasizing and embodying and radiating love. You know what I mean? So again, and I'm going to show you guys a slide from one of my recent presentations that'll just sort of align with that. But so again, on an emotional level, that's how you climb the emotional scale. Now it sounds easy, right? But this is where most people get stuck, because most people have never been properly loved. And they want to love everybody else. And the people who have gotten the least amount of love are the ones that are so pressed to try to love everybody else. Like I said in one of my recent workshops, it's not by chance, and it's interesting and ironic that the people pleasers usually get the shortest end of the stick from the people that they're trying to please. They get the least from the people they're trying to please. So that's proving it on an emotional level. On a spiritual level, if we consider the concept of the dark night of the soul, or depression, or anxiety, or feeling lost, right, or feeling disconnected from source, right, and so that darkness, that density, that heavy space, that, you know what I mean, we've all been there, right? Some of us more times than a few, right? And so Still using the spiral equation and looking at the bottom of the spiral and see that desolate, desperate, lack of self-love, lack of self-awareness, spiraling out of control, all of that at the bottom of the spiral. But at the top of the spiral is where the higher self and the inner being dwells. And at the top of the spiral is where, love is most likely to manifest. Love meaning making this about spirituality, right? Connection to source, feeling inspired, feeling motivated, feeling passionate, feeling invigorated about life. Notice I haven't said anything relative to religion, because that's really what religion is supposed to be teaching and guiding us to do, to experience life at its fullest, to find ways to manifest our highest and best good, to experience love at the highest heights, to experience abundance in mentally, spiritually, emotionally, and physically. What's the point of religion if it's not doing that? So, but again, the spiral, going from a place of desolation or a place of not feeling connected and not having a purpose to now at the top of the spiral, you feel alive, you feel invigorated, you feel connected to source, you're working with a passion, you're operating in the world, connecting with the soul of the universe. That's climbing up the ladder of yourself, spiritually, physically. So we did emotionally, we did physically in terms of the acidic, the scale of pH, alkaline versus acidic. We did spiritually, and then mentally. We're surrounded by people that are spazzing out all the time. First of all, you know what I mean? I have a book club that I have in my membership channel where we intentionally choose literature and from great minds and high vibrational beings and powerful, energies that have been on our planet, that left jewels for us and tools and resources for us to hold on to climb the ladder of ourselves, right? So but in terms of giving attention to our mind, giving attention to your mentality. I think the average, they say the average person thinks somewhere between 15,000 and 60,000 thoughts today, and more than 70% of them are negative. So who's controlling your mind? It's a great question, right? But I'm saying all of that to say spiraling in terms of going from somebody controlling your mind, somebody controlling your program, you believing everything you heard, you believe everything the news says, right? You went to college and got the bachelor's or the master's degree, and then all of a sudden, and we're in a deep entrenched trance. Maybe you're successful, maybe you weren't, but then all of a sudden, here comes Message to the Black Man, or here comes, Malcolm X, or here comes, any of the great minds, right? All of the different schools of thoughts. Maybe it was the Bible, maybe it was the Quran, maybe it was some powerful literature or experience that happened in the world that inspired you. So that's what I'm saying. That's that spiral in terms of climbing the ladder of self as it pertains to mentally. And so many people are suffering in this world because they're not climbing. They're not even reaching for anything anymore. So that's what my climbing the ladder of yourself workshops with women are. And I'm in a rhythm with this now. I have, I was behind for a couple of weeks because I had my computer in and out of the shop. And so trying to get some things fixed with the background of multiple of my sites. But I'm in a good rhythm with this group, and I'm in a good rhythm with these women. And I know part of my work, my destiny, is working with women. And I've been trying these different ways of trying to work through it, to figure it out. And this is a very, very, very good way. Very small, intimate groups. I get to talk to them in a group capacity, but then I also get to work with them directly one-on-one in that capacity. And it's a support system. So that, as well as my consultation special that I have on the screen that I'm getting ready to take down now. So if you want somebody to, assist you in navigating the circumstances and situations of your life, that's actually what I do in a group capacity and in an individual capacity. Let me come back to my screen. I want to bring up this post that I saw on in terms of this anti-black thing, and I can get into that now. And thank you so much, you guys, in the chat room, because I'm not really paying attention to the chat just yet, but I will come back to you in just a second. I need to add this image real quick. Also, my Cash App information is in the description, and my super chat acceptabilities is open. And I appreciate you guys for being here with me and joining me. This was on Facebook on a Humans of New York, or on the Humans of New York Facebook page. I looked into this site, and it seems like it's a blog where people from all over the world, I maybe journalists, maybe just bloggers. I don't know what the qualifications are to be able to write on this site, but there's a bunch of different bloggers. It's not this lady who allegedly wrote this. I'm going to show an image of a picture of her in just a second. It doesn't even say her name. And in the comments, I asked who wrote this, because she basically challenged anybody that wanted to address this on YouTube, etc. I challenge you to do so. So I'm challenging her in this conversation that we're having here. But I'm saying I'm giving that pretext because I don't really know if this is even a real person. This is how skeptical I am of the social media internet world at this point. But I'm addressing this because it is a part of a bigger problem. And also, like I've been saying, it's a lot. I get a lot of, it's bots and it's trolls or whatnot. Like, even if these are sort of digitized, weaponized, voices, if you will, platforms, if you will, they're still following with the orders of whoever the master is, whoever the programmer is, whoever the writer is, whoever the person in charge is. So that's why it's important to address these things and acknowledge them, because this is what's the algorithm. Let's say if this was started by AI and now it's taking a hold, and now in the community and in the culture, people are actually turning up and fighting amongst each other about something like this. So it becomes real. That's why, when I say the thing about the devil is that he's a master at getting people to believe an illusion. But the danger and the powerful thing about it, and what they know, how they know you to be so powerful and go out of their way to limit your power, is that if you believe the illusion, it becomes real. So all they got to do is set a what looks like a fire somewhere off in the horizon. It ain't even a fire. It's like lighting in smoke. You know what I mean? A bubblegum machine or something. Or bubblegum machine. Why did I say bubblegum machine? Whatever. A smoke machine. And people see it in the horizon, and all of a sudden start reacting to fire. So again, just for context, I don't know who this person is. I don't know how, I don't have a lot of context behind this, but I do know that the brother who asked me to address this, referenced that he was very upset and that it was triggering, and it is something that I've seen in other ways being discussed. So again, Humans of New York. I quote, I talk to Africans that barely speak English. They say, we don't like Black Americans. They're not only speaking about white Americans. They talk only specifically about Black Americans because Black Americans have a effed up mentality, a crab in a bucket mentality. I'm sorry, but yes, we're going to address it right here. ADOS, American Descendants of Slavery, they have a crab in a effing bucket mentality that Africans and Caribbeans do not have. You ever seen crabs in a bucket? They all try to get out, but none of them can get out because they're all pinching each other, pulling each other down. The Caribbean way is we going to get out, and we're going to reach back down and pull somebody else out. Lift everyone up until the last one is out. But that's not the Black American way. As soon as somebody is about to make it out, here come the claws. And those crab claws hurt. I'm going to be raw as F right now. It's Black men, especially. They do not make me feel safe. Ever since elementary school, my whole life, MFing American black kids made me feel unsafe. That's it. It's nothing else. You know what the N word calls me? If their skin is one shade lighter, they call me black as F KCU. Try not to cuss so I won't, demonetize the video. My whole life, black as F, N words, even darker than me, calling me black as F because I'm a little more African than you, because I'm a little bit closer to the ancestors. It's sickening, and I'm going to call it out. I'm going to call everything out. And let me pull up the second version of this, or the second slide, I should say. They hate being black. They want to be white so they can walk around and not be penalized. But guess what? Black women have to deal with it too. Everything a black woman does gets penalized, especially the deeper in color we are. And black men do not protect us. Raw, honest, and effing real as F. Put this on your podcast or whatever the F this is. I want to see this SHI on YouTube so that years from now, in 100,000 years, they can watch this. Black American men, you do not protect us and you do not love us because you don't love yourself. These type of things, make me sometimes wish I had gotten into debating. You know what I mean? And I've been approached in a lot of different ways over the years about doing so. And I'm not talking about debating this person, but I am talking about debating this mindset, right? So again, it's important for us, speaking on behalf of myself, speaking on behalf of my son, who is now a young black man. So when he transitioned into that phase, then my posture as a woman and as a black woman shifted with him. Because now when you take shots at black men, you're taking shots at my black son. And you know what I mean? So we're already starting off on the wrong foot. Okay. And again, I want to emphasize, I don't actually know if this is from a real person. I did also see a post from the same person on this site where she was being very open and vocal about her sexual engagement with other females. And it was kind of raunchy and it was a lot TMI, but it was like a whole different type of conversation, whole different, you know what I mean? It came from somewhere else, right? But that actually kind of a little bit maybe validated this and maybe seemed like it actually could be real, right? Because I can see how a person who has this type of mentality and is conveying this type of energy could also be very highly promiscuous and, you know what I mean, lacking tact when it comes to share what she shares online, et cetera, right? Now, the thing that does that about this is that there is a lot of comments on this feed that are basically co-signing this. And that's what really makes it dangerous, right? Because it's like, not only that, but the things that we've been talking about in the news episodes, the things that are happening in the collective conscious, this real strong anti-Black American energy, right? And there's repercussions for that. And on a spiritual level, whatever you are expressing and meaning to become harmful towards another person, the energy that you are emitting, the state of mind and awareness that you are trying to project onto them, actually on a spiritual level can only actually impact and affect you, right? So this is the dangerous thing about it, not to mention the importance and specialty of Black people in America in particular, which I'm going to get into that a little bit more when we listen to this video from this another video that I have saved on Instagram. So, but let me address this, and it's important again because a lot of people in the comments agree with this. There's like 100,000 likes on this post, and God only knows how many comments. I had to stop reading it. It was so sickening. Maybe it's trolls, maybe it's bots. Some of it's humans for sure. I don't ascribe to or consider myself an American descendant of slavery. So, you know what I mean? She's not talking to me there. She's not really talking to me in any of this, but I can't, you know what I mean? It's not my posture to defend that language because I don't identify with that language. In terms of the crabs in a barrel mentality and Africans not having that, I mean, you know, Sudan is in a war right now. The Congo is in a war right now. Black girls and Black women, or African girls and women, are still being victims of female clitoral circumcision right now in the name of tribes and customs. In the Congo, recently as a few months ago, the African male gangs stormed a female prison, and allegedly, because I have to say that too, because I'm suspect of, you know what I mean, everything that they say about Africa, first of all. But because I've been following this story, I know that, and we all know it has been and is going down at the hand in the Congo. And it is going down at the hands, in terms of the physical aspect of that war, by Congolese men, African men. Now, who gave them the guns? Who gave them the funding? Who's behind the scenes pulling the strings? And we know who that is. But still, it would never be possible without those men being frontline, actively provoking and continuing that war, just like in Haiti, right? So what I could do is pull up the poverty rate in specific areas of the Caribbean. And I feel awkward about even having these conversations because I don't like comparing the struggle and the suffering of different people. I'm trying to project love and inspiration so that we all expand. African, Caribbean, Black American, particularly, obviously, right? Melanated people all over the world. I'm Team God. I didn't stop at Africa. I didn't stop at America. I'm Team God, true and living God. You know what I mean? So a lot of this, everything she's saying doesn't apply to me. But again, it's important for us to have this conversation because we got to set an energetic tone in terms of how people think they can talk to us, how they treat us, and how they can handle us. So now, if this is a real person, I would absolutely invite her to have a face-to-face conversation live in front of everybody. And then she could say, you know what I mean? She put out a challenge, I accept. So I'm saying all of this to say, if the situations in Africa and in the Caribbean are so wonderful and the men there are so intentional about your security, why are you not there instead of here? If Black men in America are so subpar and so substandard in terms of making sure that you are taken care of, that you are secured, then why are you not there instead of here? There aren't Caribbean men and African men in your communities in America that actually can hold you down and take care of you. Is the whole onus on Black men? Are they the only men that you're expecting to protect you? And then who would want to protect you with this mentality? I'm just being honest. Ever since elementary school, my whole life, American Black kids made me feel unsafe. Welcome to America. Welcome to America. My first year in high school, I left St. Elizabeth High School. I was in all Black private school in elementary school in Oakland, Hope Academy. I left there. I went to St. Elizabeth, which is a private school, Catholic school, in middle school. And then in public, I went to the 9th grade and went to Castlemont, and all hell broke loose. I got jumped. I had fights. I had females coming at me left and right. It was absolutely insane for somebody who had been in a very sheltered incubated environment in terms of my upbringing and my schooling to have to just like have to be you know what I mean, jumped in that type of environment. So again, welcome to America. Colorism was a big deal in my family because I was my mother's family didn't raise me. My father's family raised me. I grew up in a family full of very dark skinned people who many of them were very color struck. Who do you think bore the brunt of that? Me. Again, welcome to America. You know what I mean? Have you looked at the statistics of Black men that are in and out of the prison industrial complex and the fight to overcome the prison to school to prison pipeline and all of the nefarious things that are happening behind the scenes that are limiting Black men and bastardizing or criminalizing or objectifying or destroying Black men? You don't have the capacity for empathy and compassion, but you say we want to be like white people. But you're exactly you know what I mean? You sound like Elon Musk. This nigga said, oh, excuse me. Referring to Elon Musk, of course. This dude said that the biggest issue in the West was that people lack empathy and compassion. And that's actually the superpower. That's one of the keys to manifesting the kingdom of God is empathy and compassion. And he said that's one of the biggest issues in the West. But to double down on his point, you have absolutely no empathy and compassion for Black men. So again, why would they want to take care of you or secure you? I know this might have started when you were young and you were innocent, and then you grew up and things happened, and all of a sudden your heart got hardened, and you know what I mean? And now it's you just declaring war on Black men. But welcome to the club again. We all go through difficulty. The situation for the average person in America is not peaches and cream. But I really wonder what it is where you're originally from. How was it when you were in the Caribbean? It couldn't have been too great. You're here. How was it in Africa? Couldn't have been too great. You're here. And then the whole crabs in a barrel mentality, like continuously projecting that on us. And this whole idea that Black people don't have culture. Like, stop playing with me. Like, we haven't built anything monumental. We haven't become and established anything monumental. The Alvin Ailey Dance Company is a continuous cultural mecca of Black culture that has continuously been thriving. The Nation of Islam, whether you agree with the ideology or not, has schools across the country in America that is educating Black children, specifically Black children. There are mosques all across the country that you can take your African self or Caribbean self into, and they will welcome you in and not question you about whether you originally Black or that. None of that. The Hebrew Israelites in Atlanta have a very powerful mecca that they've built out there with businesses and infrastructure and real estate, et cetera, et cetera. There's Black people in LA, Black people in Atlanta. In my headline news episodes, when I do the love episodes, I always showcase community, up and coming communities where Black people are going in and buying neighborhoods and building up the block and turning up, you know what I mean? And building things and creating things. What are you talking about? Crabs in a barrel. That's the Black people you focus on because that's the Black people you're aligned with. So you and the 85% from the Caribbean and Africa can all line up and go somewhere and, you know what I mean? Create a life in the world together. Just don't reproduce yourselves. That's all I ask. What we not finna do is, you know what I mean? In the midst of the chaos and the insanity in the world, because everybody is under stress, everybody's feeling the heat. So they're directing the, you know what I mean? The attention starts to be directed towards the ones that people have a certain type of expectation of, or people who, you know, the ones that people are already paying attention to, or, you know, the light bearers. Remember, light attracts everything. dust, dirt, mold, light, love, expansion, creation, death, destruction, mortality, immortality. No, what you need to be doing is giving thanks and sending love and prayers of righteousness to us here in America, the 5% of the 5% in America, of the Black Constitution, Black America, etc. This is why I decided to do my next book, Black Legacy, and make it a history textbook about us here in America, because this is what we're not gonna do. There's a psychological war going on. There's an intellectual war going on. There's a literature war going on. Or how can Black people be all up in arms about DEI and so scared about what these people are in the schools teaching or not teaching our children, but you won't actually support the people who have created the Black and African center schools, or people like myself that have actually created curriculums for your children? So I call hypocrite on you, because that applies to you as well, who wrote this article. Because I got Africa is all up and through my book. I know the history and the rundown, but I also know the circumstances on the ground in real time right now. So if you're going to tell the truth, tell the whole truth. I'm going to call everything out. They hate being Black. Actually, we love being Black. I don't know. You know what I mean? This is, we are the tribe of Tupac, the tribe of Nas, the tribe of the Black Panthers, the tribe of the Nation of Islam, the tribe of Noble Drew Ali, the tribe of the Harlem Renaissance, the tribe of Dr. Francis Cress Welsing. What are you talking about? We hate being Black. We actually make that shit look fly. We're the ones that inspire the rest of the world to love and appreciate being Black. Black women have to deal with it too. Everything a Black woman does gets penalized. Now you're trying to tether Black women with your low vibrational perspective and mindset and all of that, and we're not doing that, because I'm not there with you. And when I say the word tether, I'm not using the word tether like it's being used to ramp up and magnify all this anti-Black, anti-African. I'm not with none of that shit. So please don't put me in any of those conversations. I know by me addressing this, you know what I mean? It's kind of relative, but this is not that. So now you're trying to tether Black women with the issues that an African or a Caribbean woman or a woman or someone else from somewhere has to deal with here. But we love our men though. So we've already drawn a line in the sand. Not to mention the upward mobility of so many Black women in business and entrepreneurship and career oriented, and you know what I mean, or service oriented or health oriented or God oriented or spiritual oriented. So yeah, Black women are in a very high trajectory as far as I'm concerned. The ones that I'm tapped in with. I want to see this shit on YouTube. Yeah, you're on YouTube now. So maybe this will get to this person, maybe it won't. I don't really care. I am, talking about, I would love to get back to the part about thriving in chaos. Is this a pay-per-view conversation? Did you pay a certain dollar amount in order to tune in to a conversation about thriving in chaos? I'm assuming you came in late, so you didn't hear me in the beginning of the conversation where I said I got a lot of things I want to talk about, so I'm going to be a little bit all over the place. But I can talk about whatever I want to talk about whenever I want to talk about it. You know what I mean? And if it's not your cup of tea, then we all know what to do from there. This is about thriving in the midst of chaos. This particular article is about thriving in the midst of chaos because there is a lot of anti-Black projection directed towards Black people in America. And this is a buffer and a refuting of said energy, because we're not going to allow that energy to be directed towards us, particularly when we have a bigger mission and a bigger agenda at hand. So the topic is right on course. Maybe your interpretation, you know what I mean? It is what the conversation is. Be well. child of God said, the Spirit is bringing the freedmen together in one accord right now. We're seeing who's with us and who's not. Why? The times are calling for us to be great. Everything else will follow as usual. And this is another reason why I've been talking about the race consciousness and the need for the race consciousness and timeline for race consciousness is over, because this is a representation of a Black woman, right? I don't know exactly who wrote it, High Flown. I tried to get some more information about it. I couldn't find the actual author. These pictures are attached to it, and these same pictures are attached to other blogs on this site. So I, asked the question. I didn't get a response, but there was a lot of commentary on this post that was in alignment and in agreement with this sentiment, with this energy, which is the main reason why I'm addressing it. And I said in the beginning of the video, it's possible this could be AI. It's possible it could be a number of things. But we're in a timeline where there's an information war. So we have to, an intellectual war, like I said before. So we have to be able to, stand on our square in as it pertains to that. So I wrote in my notes, this is a time for preserving spiritual energy. And this is a time for storing up our chi and our life force energy and our love, right? And so my member who wrote this post to me, he was upset when he read this, and not just this, again, all of the comments that were underneath it. Not to mention all of the eons and eons of videos we're seeing now of, Karen's on crack, or you know what I mean, the anti-Black sentiment. That's kind of like we're seeing a lot of content around that, and that's intentional too. But talking about this and then pivoting from like, okay, this is what's happening, and being conscientious about this is spiritual warfare on a very high level. So it's being played out on a lot of levels. So even if a person doesn't directly say this to you and insult you and offend you directly in a way that it can harm you or impact you, just reading these words online is having this effect, but it's multiplied by the millions. This is why I'm talking about it, because developing the muscle of spiritual discernment in the era of AI, of mental discernment, and not allowing these things to trigger us and insult us in the era of AI is critical. And then storing up the life force energy, the chi, the prana, so that we still feel balanced, we still feel whole, we still feel good about ourselves, and are able to get to a point of thriving. Because you can't just, you know what I mean, take a pill and now the thriving is like, thriving is that, going back to that point about climbing the ladder of yourself. Being intentional about manifesting a reality where you are thriving means that you have to be consistently, intentionally working to climb the ladder of yourself. And all of this propaganda and all of this foolery and all of this circus, political, racial, ignorance that's being permeated in the airwaves is intentionally to keep you off of that agenda, off of that frequency. There's a lot of energy in Black America being directed to this, the anti-African, or not anti-African, the boycott Africa thing that just happened on August 1st. And I spoke about this in depth in the other video, but it's just like, I saw most of the commentary was about African braid shops, because I guess Black women frequent them a lot. I've never actually had my hair braided by an African woman. It's always been by Black women in America. And I don't even, it's like, are we shopping that much to boycott African stores for one day and have that much of an impact on them? First of all. And then secondly, I have one shop that I frequent here, Taj Mahal on Crenshaw, it's called Taj Mahal. Is an incense store, and they have the best prices and some of my favorite incense, and everybody in there pretty much that works in there is African. There's a Senegalese brother in there. There's a one from Egypt. There's like a whole tribe of different African nations that work in there. And those are my people. You know what I mean? And I go in there because obviously I like the vibes, I like the energy, I'm supporting them, but I get what I need for the Lolo. And I've never had any issues in there. So I'm saying all of that to say, because I always support people's right to boycott. I support your right to voice your perspective, what you're for, what you're against, like 100%. But I think we need to underscore the point in Black America that boycotting is not building. It's not building. And I'm taking that beyond just this conversation about the anti-Black, anti-African sentiment and into the boycotting of Target and all of the companies that are, changing their rules and regulations about DEI, all of the fervor, all of the anger, all of the upsetness, all of the hashtags, all of the protesting, all of the marches. It still hasn't built anything though. So boycotting is not building. So if we could be as intentional about building as we are about boycotting, maybe we could actually achieve some quantifiable progress in the bigger scheme of things, of course. I got to say that because she just said in the article that, we're crabs in a barrel, we aren't accomplishing anything. And so I had to lay down the consistency of the accomplishments, but still acknowledging we got a lot of work that needs to be done, first and foremost within the self. Which is why I titled the video Thriving in the Midst of Chaos, because the level of chaos you experience is going to be based on the level of peace you embody. The level of chaos you're going to experience is going to be based on the type of food you eat. The level of chaos is going to be you experience is going to be based on the type of people you have around you. We already know we're subpar. I think at this point now we need to figure out how to rebuild our men, women, and ourselves. I think we have to do that and give some grace. We're way off frequency. I don't know. We're subpar. Who is we? I don't see anything about subpar about us at all. That's actually the whole point I'm making. Like, you know what I mean? I'm lightweight popping my collar on behalf of Black America. I'm challenging us and getting up in our chest at the same time because that's what the divine feminine is supposed to do. But first and foremost, I led with, you know what I mean? Nah, there's nothing subpar about anything over here. We rock with and align with and speak for and stand for the true and living God. So in terms of how to rebuild our men, women, and ourselves, that's what this conversation about. We need to figure out how to rebuild our men, women, and ourselves. I got love for you, Jamal, because I know, you know what I mean. We're always here and listening, but we need to figure it out. We already figured it out. It's already figured out. Way too many great minds have contributed to the figuring out of it. It needs to be executed. Black men collectively are underperforming. Obviously, there are some doing well. I mean, Jamal, I respect and support your right to speak for yourself and for those men. You know what I mean? We're aiming high in this part of the world. And what I don't even mean that to be a physical place. I'm talking about people that are in line with this is, you know what I mean? When I say the divine new world order, that's where my mentality is at. Let me share my screen real quick to that point.